Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Herschel Ford.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Herschel Ford from Hastings Top 200 and this is the Monday morning meeting, late edition. Welcome everybody back. Sorry for the delay of this podcast because I know that a bunch of people have been asking for it. But if you're new to this, like and subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff on the podcast because it does help with the algorithms, all that kind of stuff. Jump on all my socials, High School Top 200 on Facebook, at the real HS Top 200 on Instagram, and then my TikTok as well, HS Top 200 on TikTok. TikTok's getting better. I try and do as much as I can. Instagram as well as the same. I'm just trying to learn that kind of stuff. It's hard finding time to edit as well as write articles and do rankings and do my homework, watch games, all that kind of stuff. Like even this past weekend, I've been trying to watch a bunch of games. I still got a few more to go. I'm down to 16 games this week. I watched 16 games this week. I still got a few more to go. On Friday, I don't know why, but I thought I'd get my wisdom tooth taken out. I was hurting so much. I thought, I'll just have a rest for this Friday, and then Saturday I'll be up in Auckland as normal watching 3 games. I had 3 games planned for Auckland, and then after I got it out, I don't know what kind of tough guy I thought I was, but it didn't work out that way at all. I couldn't even talk, couldn't even eat, couldn't even all that kind of stuff. I could say my face was swollen, but it just looks swollen all the time, so it doesn't really matter. But it's, don't tease me, I'm sensitive. But it's just one of those things that, in my mind and in my heart, I really thought that I could just get my wisdom tooth taken out and then it would be all good. But according to my dentist, the Indian guy who was flipping going to town on my head, well, that sounds dodgy, but trying to pull that tooth out, man, he put all his effort into it. So obviously my face hurt after that. Anyways, I'm just trying to get back to normal. It still hurts right now, but it's good enough for me to talk. But before I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even talk to my daughters, and my daughters were helping me out. My 2 assistants. So it was alright. It was hard to watch games just to concentrate because of the pain, but I got through a lot of them already. I like to start off watching the Christchurch and Christ game, which is to me it was I think Christchurch and Christ game is probably one of the best games of the season. I like that one, and this is for me personally because I know everyone talks about the Grandma and Kings, and it's I just don't find that as exciting as the other ones. Even Town and Silverstream is a better one to me. Otago Southland is a better one to me. The Rotorua Tauranga or Rotorua and Hamilton Boys is a big one. I think those are the bigger ones. I actually think Kings and St. Kennigan's is the bigger game in my mind, and from what I see. And I, watching the game, I did not know how Christ College ended up losing this game. And it's almost like they switched off in the second half, because the first half they were really good. Everything that they did and everything that they tried, it worked. It worked for them. It wasn't that they were struggling to gain meters, or they were struggling to even put sets and phases together, because they were and even though sometimes Christchurch boys were answering back in that first half, it still felt like the game was Christ College game to win, and they were on that way even leading into the second half. And I wrote about PJ and Rico, Gavin was great. I still like Franks and what's his name, big fella in the front row. Let me have a look, because I don't want to. There's the thing, like I always have so many names in my head, even from like past years. I get them heaps of them mixed up. But I felt like, oh yeah, how can I forget Zinzan? His name's Zinzan. So Zinzan, the way that he, because I think him and Frank are probably, to me, the most important ones in that forward pack. Because Zinzan is he throws in the lineouts, meaning that he's the first one to sort of receive the ball. If he was sort of to double round, his hit ups are always gaining meters every single time he touches the ball. And then he is also the kind of guy that, because he makes so much meters, Zinzan, you're able to play off him straight away, and that's where I think PJ and Rico come into it. And I feel like if Gavin calls it for them all the time in sort of those kind of sequences, and then have someone like Louis Tupuola, who's only year 11 and he's their number 8. I don't know what it is. Do all your Samoans down there have like red hair? They're like white with red hair, and they're all like mean at rugby for some reason. But Louis is just like the next one up, and he's such a big player. He's such a big ball runner. He commands so much attention. So if you have someone like Zinzan making and creating all these opportunities for everybody else to feed off, I feel like everybody else should do that, and everybody else should give him the credit to go, hey, you've set us up, let us do this. In the first half, it all worked out right. Frank Meets is the guy that, you know, open side just runs and makes tackles all day, and that's what he did. Then we get to the second half, and it was like just completely different, and it just completely broke down. And I think when you're watching it, you can tell straight after, because there's a try straight away. There's a try straight away to Christchurch boys, and then you could just feel that big shift. And James Moore, who I really liked as a prospect, as number 8 for New Zealand secondary schools, and then when I was told that he was switched to prop because of how massive he got over the summer, because he's like a gun athlete for shot put, New Zealand shot put champion kind of guy, but he got so big, and I thought, oh man, maybe this will wreck his chances. But then I actually kind of think, after watching the last 3 games of theirs and seeing him as a prop, still taking that same kind of approach to strong ball carrying, getting out there in defense, he's one of those kind of players that you're like, oh, he's all right to transition from this position to that, and then you don't really lose anything, because you still got Joshua Finlay and also Macaulay sometimes at hooker, and they also have what's his name, Sione Telefoni's the other one, Bill Quigley is another, but they, like, these guys are all able to work around it. And because you got someone like Finn McLeod, who's, to me, and I've talked about how Finn McLeod is one of those guys that is a lock blindside, and then when he leaves school, he's going to be so much better as well, because I actually think he's going to be a blindside when he leaves school, and I think in club prem he's going to be a blindside, and if it carries on to pros, he'll probably be blindside. So athletic, so he's just a guy that gives you options. When you can build an offensive team, he's the guy that you kind of want, because he can adapt from wherever you want him to be. But in that second half, you finally saw like Hiro Fuchigami, who's the year 12 halfback, him and Will Haig, I think they just started working better. I think they just started putting it together, even with like Ollie Singleton, who I like a lot. Like, I think that those 3 from 9, 10 and 12 made the biggest difference in terms of transitioning the ball through the line, not holding it up unnecessarily, making sure that everyone that got touches enough that Christ had to worry about the whole spectrum of the field instead of just going, okay, we'll just target this area, kind of like what Christ had done to themselves, is that Rico and PJ, along with Gavin, they were the main attacks, and I kind of thought they should have brought some of those other wingers and like the other Japanese kid too, like give them some shots, spread out some of that ball, make Louis stand out wide, have him a bit more of an edge. Thomas is the other one, both Thomases, prop and hooker, making sure that they get some good runs in different spots in the field so that it's not so one-dimensional. And in the first half they did well in creating that kind of stuff. Second half it just kind of blew to bits. But yeah, it was like a really good. I wish I had it on YouTube because it's just a really good game to watch. The other good game that I watched too was the St. Bede's versus St. Pat's Town, and it's funny too because like in that game, like you kind of expected these two to. I actually thought St. Bede's was really going to give them a number, like really put it on them, but St. Patrick's Town, I think they actually showed some of their better defense in that game, even though St. Bede scored 33 points, and it sounds like a lot, but they really did cancel out a lot of the points that St. Bede's should have got. And forcing St. Bede's to kick, forcing them to work harder for what they... And like, I actually liked the way that that Town approached it, because they did go forward. They did, really make an effort to make and complete their one-on-one tackles there and put guys down, things like that. And even though guys like Bede and them, also, what's the number 8's name? Is it Vili? Fafita, I think his name is, from, who's the number 8. Like, he was always up there in the play. Even Josh, Antonio Van Hoven was the other one. But Vili, and I kind of think that they should have given Vili more ball and given him more opportunities to sort of like flex a bit, carrying the ball. Because I think he's a really good runner. Like, I really think he's a good runner, and I think that he can create a lot of space for them, as well as Bede, because Bede seems like at lock is just a really... He's a young year 13, but he's just really good with the ball in hand. And so, I don't know, I think that they should give them more opportunities and have Maddox Wright, who's the halfback, either him or... Because George Kneebone is the other halfback. Get them, I guess, spreading... Maybe organising a bit more ahead of time. Because it doesn't seem like that. They sort of like organise... it feels like it's a bit slow. To me, it feels like it's a bit slow. But Town actually really played well, and I thought that it should have been a much closer game. Like, even though it was like 33-21, it should have been a lot closer than that. The thing is that St. Bede's won this game, went back home, and then they lost to Shirley. St. Pat's Town lost this game and then really beat up on Scots College. Like, worse than I... Like, in my mind, it probably should have been the other way around. Now, I haven't seen the game. Like, I hope that they post the game somewhere, because I really want to watch, like, actually how that happened. Like, how was it this big of a gap? And judging from the score line, it honestly made them what was the score? 44-7. And it's weird because I've just dropped Scots out of the top 25, and St. Pat's Town puts a score like that on them. It kind of reaffirms that maybe Scots isn't that high on the board of a top elite kind of school. Because to me, it's like, if you're in the top 25, in my mind, you're in that bracket of elite. You're in that bracket of it's never going to be an easy day if you go to that school, if you play that school. They're never going to make it easy for you, kind of thing. And in my mind, and that's the way I think about these guys and I think about these teams, is like, if you're in that bracket of top 25, you should demand the respect, and you should also exude that kind of aura as well. And being beat 44-7 to St. Pat's Town, who is, they're not close to making top 25 right now. But with games like that, I don't see why I shouldn't put them higher. I shouldn't put them to that kind of put them in that kind of section. Because that's just one of those kind of scores, man. Because I think Wellington College, with Wellington College's game against Rongotai, even though I think Wellington kind of played bad, especially in that it took so long for Wellington College to actually open up and play like Wellington College should play. Because Rongotai came out, scored straight away, and easy. It wasn't even it didn't even look like it was hard to them. And Rongotai did it again. And they were getting found out on the same side. And it was real lackadaisical as well in the way that they did it. And this is where I kind of put that pressure on the leaders of that team, like Harry, who I praise a lot. But at this time, these kind of games is if you don't charge up your boys straight away when you're behind, even within the first 3 minutes or whatever it was, it's hold everybody accountable as well as yourself. And I think that in those moments, Harry's got to do that. Harry and some of those boys who are the leaders of the school, Charisma and Archie, those kind of guys. Ella's another one. You got to take control of your team. That's your team. You're there. Horse is another one. You're there for a reason. You're there as a second year, third year player. Yeah, the boys should look at you like that. And even though at the end of the game was 47-13, Rongotai for the first 15, 17 minutes, almost 20 minutes, made them look average. Really did make them look average. And even though Wellington was scoring, it was a frustrating sequences of drop balls and terrible scrums. And scrums was actually what annoyed me the most, was how they couldn't control the scrum. They couldn't control the other props. They couldn't control the pressure or the give and go of each push on each engagement. They weren't winning. They weren't even winning the engagement, which is strange to me. But they just weren't doing what I thought that they're at that level of supposed to be doing. They play enough hard teams to know what a hard team is, and they made Rongotai look like they were a hard team. And I'm not trying to have a go at Rongotai, not at all. But Rongotai showed potential that they can be better. Wellington has also showed me the fact that sometimes they win the game even before the game's kicked off, and they get too ahead of themselves. And I think if you're going to take a rivalry who Rongotai is their rival, it's just treat them as a rival and don't give them that respect of okay, you're a rival. Yeah, our team looks better than yours on paper, but we'll just prove it on the field, and we'll just smash you from the beginning to the end. That's how I see it. I mean, to give respect to your opponents who have also worked out and trained all week and trained to get better, give them that respect, and it's like, yeah, we're going to smash you, and we're going to smash you from the beginning, and we're going to give you our best, and this is what we're going to show you. Like, you're going to know from the beginning that this is our best. Wellington, to me, kind of didn't give that attitude, because they knew that they were better, but they made it so difficult for themselves. You know, it's like one of those kind of things. Southland boys, I'm still waiting for that. I'm still waiting for that game. I hope it gets sent to me. But them only just beating Kings, I just want to see what that's about. I really just want to see what that's about. The Whanganui Collegiate and Francis Douglas one is the other one. Like, I didn't think Whanganui Collegiate would lose to Francis Douglas. And I'm still waiting for that one as well, that game as well. Don't worry about adding more games, just send me the games. I'll take care of the time of watching them. But I really want to see what both of those games are about. Kings High School is a good team, but they're not an old team. They're a bunch of year 12s and year 11s. I'll be scared of them next year, and I'll be scared of them for the next 3 years. But this year, Southland, who is our reigning champions, 17-13, especially after what Otago has done, is like, mate, I don't know what that is about, but I want to see it first. I want to see it. Whanganui Collegiate is the same. Losing 14-20 to Francis Douglas, I don't know. And yeah. I've watched Whanganui 4 times this year. I've watched Francis Douglas 3 times. And Whanganui, to me, in my mind, shouldn't have lost that game. But Francis Douglas did whatever they did, and I'm keen to see what it is. So if someone's got it, you know, send me the game. I'll be keen to see what it looks like. We'll talk about Hamilton first, and then we'll talk about Rotorua. Hamilton and New Plymouth. Hopefully you're okay and everything is all right. And I think this game that we play is dangerous, and like, we know that there's risks, and we just hope for the best. And so, bro, I hope you're all right and you're recovering well. And yeah, nothing major is there in the future for you. But in this game, like, I don't think we saw the last 10 minutes of it, because they relocated the game, obviously because of the injury. But Hamilton boys, to me, lack obviously game time, because they don't really have preseason games and they're still trying to figure it out. But it's taking them a lot longer to figure out what their team is. My worry about Hamilton boys is that they're not going to figure it out before the frustration settles in. If their frustration settles into that team before they start figuring it out, they're not going to beat Palmy, they're not going to beat Hastings, they're not going to beat Tauranga, they're not going to beat Rotorua. Now, the worst Hamilton boys team I've seen lost 3 games in a year, including preseason. Hamilton's already lost one game this year out of the 4 games that they played, because they lost in their first one against Westlake. They beat Grammar, they beat Mags, and then they beat New Plymouth. Yeah, so 4. They've won 3 from 4. But that road of... This is why the Super 8 is so hard, is that there's only 7 other teams that you're going to play, and all of those teams are pretty much in the top 25, and that's every single week. And so Hamilton boys always having Auckland Grammar, which was always going to be that. Their preseason against Westlake boys, have added 2 other top 10 teams actually into that mix. It's so hard. And like I said before about the Auckland Grammar game, it was just like, it just wasn't like a convincing win. They won, cool. It just wasn't a convincing one. Now, against New Plymouth, it was the same thing. Where they just didn't look like they had it. And New Plymouth, again, to me, just struggled not with the talent-wise, because I think they match up backs to backs easily. But I think the aura of Hamilton boys won that more than anything else. I think if their aura stuff wasn't there, New Plymouth would have really, should have been like a 29-20 kind of game, or like a 21-17 kind of game. And so I just hope that they figure that out, because if they don't, it's going to be one of the worst seasons Hamilton boys is going to have in like years. It's odd if Hamilton boys loses 3 games in a year. Losing 1 game in a year, 2 games in a year, even before nationals, is kind of like a weird thing too, There's been times where they lose 3 games, or they lose 2 games and draw 1, or something like that, and that's their record. Like, it's funny because I've talked to a bunch of Hamilton boys guys over the past, and I go, what is 1 or 2 losses to you? And they go, oh, to us that's pretty bad. To us, and they go, not just the losing, but also the way we've lost those games, because they Hamilton boys, they evaluate themselves, and they evaluate their games, and they evaluate each other and hold each other accountable for things that they don't do on the field and also off the field. So like, they take a lot of accountability, and so when it comes down to being real vulnerable about why they actually lost, these boys get used to the fact that, oh yeah, I've got to own this one because that was on me. I chose the wrong decision in making that chip kick. I chose the wrong pass. I shouldn't have held it. I should have given it off. I should have blown out instead of joining the, like things like that. They hold each other accountable. So like, if this year was to be that way, where they end up losing to all those teams, and like, think about it, if you have to play Tauranga, Palmy, Rotorua and Tauranga in your year, and then you still have Napier boys to play too, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to go, oh shoot, like how are we going to win? Like, think about all those other teams that look at Hamilton that same way. Like people always think that Gisborne's like, man, Gisborne never won. I was like, well, you try being a team that has to play in that kind of competition every single year. Every single year, you're just like, man, we have to play all these giants. Like New Plymouth is the same. We have to play all these giants. Tauranga were also at that same point before. Now that they've built up this program that Aiden Cook has like really put together, and it's just working for those local boys. They were in that same position. Now it's sort of flipped, and now they're kind of, rising to the top kind of thing. And like, we saw that in the game as well on Thursday, where Tauranga boys just suffocated Rotorua boys in everything that they did. And like, if you watch it, like, Rotorua boys didn't even play bad. Tauranga just really cut everything off, made sure of their tackles. They moved up fast in the line. They didn't make mistakes, which was like a really cool thing. Like, I haven't actually gone back and like trying to find any stats, but I don't remember anything memorable in terms of Tauranga making a big mistake. And even Rotorua just worked, but it was just the fact that Tauranga came out so aggressive, they came out so hard, and they maintained that aggression right from the beginning to the end. They played with the same pace the whole game. All boys were played in this, and they played in sync, and they didn't even play a flair, a real, showboaty kind of gameplay. They just let the ball move and then had speed take over after that. But even their sets weren't as flash as you would think it would be. I think Judah and Kelly just made it look that way, and Aaron just made it look that way. And by the way that they scored those kind of tries. But I mean, like, I think, it was just one of those things where Tauranga just made it look like it was worse than it was, and the score just didn't help the way that it looked. And them being such rivals, and these boys have played against each other all since like under 14s, or like even earlier than that. Even earlier than that. All in like under 11s and stuff. They all would have played together in the same team, played against each other. They all know each other just through rugbies and stuff like that. But to see them, the score like that, that was just a huge boost for Tauranga. That's just a massive the way that they, that they really put that kind of a gameplay on. And if you haven't watched the game, you've got to go and watch it. You've got to go and watch this game, because, and like, especially if if your goal is to make the top 4 at the end of the year, I would watch all of the Whakaata Māori TV coverage of the Super 8, because you're at least going to play 2 of those teams from the Hurricanes or from the Chiefs regions in that top 4. You're at least going to play 2 of those teams, because it's either going to be Hastings or Palmy. You could actually wind up with Feilding or Silverstream, but I'm really putting it down to those teams, and then you're either going to have Hamilton, Rotorua, or Tauranga. So if I was you and your mindset is like, oh, we want to go to the top 4. If I was Nelson, if I was Christchurch boys, if I was Christ College, if I was Otago, if I was Southland, if I'm St. Kennigans, if I'm King's College, Kelston boys, Sacred Heart, Westlake, I'm looking at that Whakaata Māori TV coverage that they play on the Super 8, and I go, oh, I'm going to watch all their games after I preview ours. I'll watch our game, write down all my notes, and then I'm going to watch those games of those teams. And the best thing is that you get to see those guys play each other, and you can figure out from week to week their tendencies. Like, I don't know how you boys, watch rugby, or how you guys evaluate like your games that you come up against, but don't be a player that goes and just watches highlights of TikToks and Instagrams and YouTube clips and reels and stuff like that. Don't watch that. Like, watch actual rugby games. And like, even some of you like that guys that don't have Sky, you have full games on YouTube. So stop watching fails and stop watching pranks and all that stuff, or watching guys mow the lawns. No, that's what I do. And then go watch full games. Watch full games of like your peers, guys that you're ranked up against, guys that that I have ranked more than higher than you guys, or teams that I've ranked higher than you guys. There's another guy, HIBS Sports is another one, a great one that has a lot of Wellington rugby, first 15 rugby, and I'm always grateful what HIBS Sports does. Another one is a guy named Michael Kalolo who does some St. Pat's town games. He's another one. There's another guy's name, I'm forgetting what his name is, who does some Scots College games. I've seen a few of his ones. And there's some guys that do Timaru Boys High School, where you can watch Timaru Boys, and then you can obviously watch guys like Christ College or Christchurch or Nelson, things like that. And so like, there's a bunch of people out there, and I just kind of find them and just, I just Google and just trying to find these guys, or people send me games and stuff like that as well. So like, if you're one of those guys, go out there and watch it like that. Go watch games like that and study all those things. Tauranga is definitely a team that you're going to have to study, because their game plan put together by Aidan Kuka and his staff of his coaching staff. Aidan's done great with the boys that he has in that region. And boys want to go to Tauranga boys now. Boys don't want to go outside and go up to Auckland. Boys don't want to come over this way to Hamilton boys or go somewhere else. They want to stay there in Tauranga because the program is actually working. Local kids want to stay there. And I think that was like the problem for a while with Tauranga boys, is that boys would just go to St. Kennigan's and Kings and come over to Hamilton Boys, or they were going down to Rotorua, and they didn't trust so much in what the program was. And the story I'm told is that is because Aiden Kuka has put in so much work into the junior rugbies, and the young boys know who he is, that when they get to the point where they go, oh, we get to play for him, boys want to stay within the area, boys want to come into his team, boys respect what he says and trust that, like, whatever game plan he's got, they're just going to trust it. Like, there's so many of these boys that are playing way better than what I thought they would. And he's figured out how to use the best of all these players and then putting it into a game plan, and everyone's shining right now. And so, like, if you have a chance to watch Tauranga Boys, not if you have a chance, just go watch Tauranga Boys. Go onto YouTube and go onto the Whakaata Māori TV and jump on there and see this team. Especially see this game against Rotorua. And this is not a slight against Rotorua, they'll come back. Rotorua is also like a real young team full of like year 12s and year 11s. Mostly year 12s, but that's going to be a scary team next year, is the Rotorua team. About a few other teams, like I've mentioned King's High School, King's College is the other one. St. Kennigan's is another one that's got a bunch of year 12s, so does Hamilton Boys. But yeah, that's another one to watch. I watch... Rotorua Boys wasn't the only one that had a hard time. Palmy Boys I rate a lot as well. And they are kind of lucky that Hastings didn't put more of a score on them. It was only 23-14. But Palmy was made to look pretty average. You know, Palmy was made to look like that they didn't even belong, sort of like in that field, I guess you could say. And the one that I think that Bradley Tocker is the one that I mean, he was at they put him back at lock, I think it was, and I think that he should just stay at blindside, you know, because I think that, like, if you're gonna, like, he's the fastest in their school, and I think his running ability opens up a lot for your options in terms of the edge. Putting up someone who looks like he's Bradley looks like he's about 6'5". He looks like he's about 6'5". But he's the fastest guy in the school. Beat everybody in sprints, 100-meter sprints. Now, just forcing wingers and centers to make those tackles or to match up with him, I would put that out there all the time. Like, I would make sure that every time play is like go stand out there with that center and make sure he sees how big you are and how tall you are, and then you can show him some speed and a fend in his face. I would make Bradley do that all the time, and I feel like having him stuck in the type 5 stuff takes away from his value of being able to sort of run a bit free, because I like the look of him out there with Nehemiah Su'a. If Nehemiah Su'a's out there and you have him, or even Joe Ratcliffe is the other one, because like both of those guys are good runners, but I like the size of Nehemiah Su'a and then Bradley Tucker, because even Nehemiah is like 6'3", I think, something like that. He's not short. But if you have Bradley and him out there, have someone like Ryder setting them up, or have Hunter Kennedy come in and play make off those two out there, I think would have been better I think is a better structure to have. Because I think you add more to your team and add more threat to your team and to your playing. So like, why they put him back into lock, I don't know. You know, I'm not too sure. They have their reasons, but I don't know what that was. To me, it didn't help. On Saturday. But that physical side of Hastings boys, even Panapa Lambert, Triumph Shield was out there. What's his name? Even the halfback. I can't remember what his name is. Let me find their names, because I don't want to forget. You know, I want to give them their props. Oh yeah, Reef Robinson was the other one too. Just so quick. Try and voice like so quick. And then Walter Carver, who's come down from Manurewa High School, made the right decision. He 100% made the right decision. And the way that he is carving up right now, it's not supposed to, the way that Walter's doing it right now, and the opportunity that he gets to find open space, to play within the gaps that he has, to also then show the ball and then to set up other guys inside and outside him that you know that are going to be there. Like him and Reef Robinson, to me, work really great together. And then when you got Mike Brown, playing from Mike Brown from halfback, Tanner's the same at first five. I think that there's like this good chemistry between all the backs, and so when it came to Saturday and the way that they were patrolling the back line on defense, and then you had Metu and what's his name, that young kid, Panapa was also the other one as well, but he ended up playing 7. I think Reed Paiwai was playing 6. He was killing it all day. Like Reed, I'm sure it was Reed. He was just smashing, like finding these open spaces, matching up. He was breaking tackles, breaking the line. Always has his head on a swivel, just looking for that extra pass and offload. It really did. Hastings just lifted Hastings to this other level, and you know it just didn't look good for Palmy at all. It didn't look good for Palmy, but lucky that score stayed. Like if you just looked at the score and you go, oh, that must have been a pretty good game. Yeah, it kind of wasn't. Like it really wasn't for Palmy. They really got. The best thing is that they found out in the first couple of games. You know, the first big matchup that, oh cool, this is what we need to fix up. And so they just know that not to do this against, especially not get a yellow card in the first phase of the game. And I'm sure he's not going to do that again, but it was just weird the way that it happened anyway. But Palmy's going to find out real quick, and then they'll adjust. I don't think it's going to be bad for them. It's just the way that it came up in the first game against like a real hard team. It's just like wasn't the best look for them. Actually, it just wasn't the best look for them. Hastings looked great, but yeah, it just wasn't the best look for them. What's the other games? Oh yeah, I'm keen to watch that Kings and Cowston. Hopefully I get that one sent to me. As well as the St. Peter's College and De La Salle, because that one was played at Eden Park. They were curtain raisers. I wish I wish that they played on there, but I heard it was like a really good game too. Auckland Grammar always look good. They're always looking good. Thanks for sending me games. St. Kennedy's is the other one. I got to get that game. St. Paul's. The St. Paul's College is doing good. That Feilding. Oh man. St. John's, man, they got to do something too. That just wasn't the St. John's that you're used to looking. And then, just another one of those games where they just made an opposition look average. They made St. John's not look like a top-rated school, which is hard to do because St. John's has got such solid players in their team, and just the way that I can't even where you thought St. John's would dominate in, it really didn't show it all. It really didn't it didn't even kind of look like it was coming together. Alani Whakawā was him and Dan oh my gosh, how am I missing his name? Oh, my Shiri was probably the two best players on the field for me, and Penny Javier probably was another one as well. And Penny's really come out this year. He's playing really, really good. And I've liked the way that he's really started to open up his running lanes, looking more on the field, around the field, picking his spots and knowing where he's good at attacking. Even Tyrese and Kotahi also making sure that these guys like Dan and Penny get those opportunities to sort of make their runs and open up the games, and then everybody else backs up, because Feilding's a great support team. That is just a great support team, and once there's a break, someone's got to call the ball and say, I've got ball, and then everybody else has to single out who they're taking. And you have to start picking off those guys that are close to the ball, making sure that guy who's on the ball makes his tackle, that once that offload goes, you've got to make the tackle straight away, because Feilding will kill you like that. Those guys are just so great at getting the ball off, and then one small break turns into 60 meters or a try, and then you're back to kicking off again. It's like that kind of situation in it. And if you get too much into that same sequence of play, you can get stuck in that, especially with someone like Feilding, who will just potentially keep you in that same cycle of, we're going to score, you just kick the ball back so we can score again, and then that's kind of how the score works out to be something like 48-15. Feilding just does that so well. They have so many big guys like Penny, who the number 8 has been playing so good, so fast. Of course, Dane Johnston is I've got to say the best prop in the country. But it's cool because him and Joel is the other one from Kaho from St. John's, to me are the best props in the CNI. I actually think that they're both props who should be considered for New Zealand secondary schools, even at this point. Joel came back a little bit unfit from the holidays, but he's good now. He's obviously played himself into fitness, but those two are just so strong, so dominant, great at scrums, solid, just really solid at scrums. both big, massive runners, not selfish guys at all, and then they look for tackles, they look for defense and opportunities to make a difference. Both Josh and Dane, to me, will match every other prop in the country. And they're both from like the CNI, and they both play, you know, in that same game. But these two are just so dominant. That's why whenever I choose my team of the week, like, and if I'm watching Feilding and St. John's, which I do pretty much every single week, it's hard for me not to choose those guys. Like, you know, it's like I always have this like, oh, should I be fair to others and just, you know, give other people? It's like, well, it's kind of not the purpose of me choosing a team of the week. If I don't think that they played better than them, then, you know, or if I don't think that they were that much of a, you know, a better effect on their game than these guys were on their game, you know, it's just like, then why am I doing this if I'm just trying to be fair to everybody? Everyone gets a turn at being team of the week. It's like not really how I do it. So, you know, it's just one of those kind of things. Leo Burgess is the same. Like Leo's just been shifting him to open side has made a massive difference, and having him, Keelan, and what's his name, Harper, and that loose trio has made it a lot more dynamic. Hopefully they keep Brooklyn Williams-Tuala in there, along with Curtis McCarthy, and I feel like that's their 4 to 8 best that they can have, because you've got a mixture of really athletic guys that are good ball carriers that do hard work. I'd like to see Brooklyn do more hard work, put his head into there more, find those dark places and just get that grunt out of him. And I know that Brooklyn's got the mongrel. He's just got to get it in there every single time and just move bodies. Just be that guy, just moves bodies. Like, I think some players forget that coaches don't really watch the ball a lot. Coaches know where the ball is going to be and supposed to be. What they watch is players' participation and opportunities where they can make a difference. Boys think that you get seen because you're touching the ball. It's like, no, coaches and selectors see what you do to make the effect of how the ball becomes available to your team. There's a big difference of like those kind of things. So if you're a rugby player, go, hey man, I got to get the ball more. It's like, no, you do some of that grimy stuff and you get your head in there and you move that fat boy out of the way, or you get over here and you make that tackle on this dude. Like, that's what they want to see. They want to see guys like, even if you get over the ball, you get blown out, you've just added a bit of more time at that ruck, which is what you need. Be that guy. Don't go, oh shit, I don't want to put my head in there. Mate, you gotta put your body on the line if that's what you want to, if that's the road that you want to take and you want to be seen, you want to be accredited. Be that guy. Don't be the guy that just keeps hanging out for the next pod. Be like, oh no, I'm coming out. It's like, no, bro, get in there. You got to get in there. Secure the ball first. Then you gotta say you're gonna get so much credit for securing it, taking yourself out of the pod situation, and then running in to secure the ball, letting someone else go in there. And even if they are the first receiver, who cares? You've saved it. The coaches and selectors going, oh cool, he knew what was more important. Brooklyn's got to be something like, you got to do more of that. Curtis has got to be the same. Leo's getting better at making tackles, rolling out, pulling his support so that he can step out just a little bit more and be tackling more out in the open with the backs and stuff like that. So, you know, and playing fast. I think Leo thought that he was more of like, you know, this smash, crash, bash kind of guy. It was like, I think he's more of an open field tackler, and seeing him chase down backs, pull him down quick, getting over it and getting to the ball, like, I think that in the next year or so, I think he's going to get a lot more attention if he keeps doing that kind of sequence. And if he gets that right, pulling guys down fast, quick to his feet, putting himself in a better body position defensively to get to his feet and get over the ball. Even if he doesn't get the jackal, even if he just puts himself in that situation, they're going to look at him as like the new open sides which they're kind of selecting. Like a lot of our open sides are getting taller, are getting bigger. Now if you're in that range of that and you've got that speed and that attitude to tackle everyone, that's kind of what they're looking for in terms of selections. Especially when it comes to the pro, that's what they said everyone has a chance. It's like, we have a type that we want. That's always the case. Just like props. That's why you see someone like Josh Smith, who used to be a lock for St. Peter's, go down to Hawke's Bay, and now he's a prop. He's a 6'4", 6'5" prop. And Josh Smith was mean as a lock. He was just undersized, but he was the great height. He was like a perfect height for the prop that we're looking for. What are the other games? Ooh, the Mahurangi one. I saw like a long highlight series of that. I didn't see the whole game. I wish I could see the whole game. Suffered their first bad loss, but it's not over. So keep going, keep grinding it out. Rosmini is just that good of a team. They seem pretty prepared and well balanced in the way that they are. The Savage boys are good. CSU as well. They're just. I like that Rosmini get to prepare for the finals, and it sucks that you have to say it that way because you want to see it as like this is a year competition. It's like it kind of isn't. It's Westlake and then whoever's going to join Westlake. Now Rosmini seems to be the top, but Mahurangi and Rangitoto College are right there along with Whangarei boys. Massey's got to put in some work and get back to what Massey used to be, but try and not be in that semi-finals against Westlake boys. Try and get to Rosmini, and then that's your best way into that finals. But Mahurangi's got to, don't worry about this game, Mahurangi. Stand back up, go for the next game. Rangitoto is the same. They got their win over Whangarei boys. Whangarei boys, I've talked about them before. So much potential, you just got to get there. And then, they're not too far. They're not too far. Botany, keep grinding. Don't worry about those, just getting 3 kicks. This is 1A, just learn from it, come back next year, figure it out. You young boys figure it out on that Botany team. Remember, if you're year 12 and year 11 in that team, or you're coming back again as a young year 13, just take this year as learning. Don't worry about like what the scores are and what everyone says. It's like, it's not easy. 1A is not easy. Aureli is looking good again. Tangaroa's looking good. Otahu had a big win, 69-10. Pakiranga lost to Ongehanga with Pakiranga. If you guys have a recording of that game, Pakiranga or Ongehanga, please send it through. I'd really, really like to watch that game. Even McLean's College, I'd really like to watch that game against Tamaki. Because I didn't see Pakiranga losing to Ongehanga. And I didn't see McLean's winning by... I didn't know who was going to win out of McLean's and Tamaki. But McLean's winning 27-3 was not what the scoreline I thought was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a 12-10, 15-12, 12-7 kind of game to somebody. I didn't really have a pick of who was going to win because I thought they were more balanced and more even than that. But that 27-3 is massive. I just want to see how that turned out to be like that. Even Pakiranga, Ongehanga, McLean's, Tamaki. If anyone has a game that can send it to me, I'd love to watch that one. Rosehill Torcal as well was one of those games that I was picking to go and see. I really wanted to see that Rosehill versus Torcal finish 38-27 to Rosehill. But Rosehill's got some players. They really do. They've got some players. I like Meta winning over Pataru. That's a good one. What were the other ones? St. Paul's Collegiate. That was actually my fallback game with St. Paul's Collegiate. I couldn't even get to that game. It was, my face was so sore. Yeah, but 72-26 over St. See, 72 is fine. 26 to St. John's Hastings is not. 26 points. You let them score 26 points. 72, that's cool, that's fine. But I know the coaches are looking at 26 and going, how do we let 26 points up? See, and Francis Douglas winning against Whanganui Collegiate is fine. But then they went and played, but then St. Peter's school travelled down there, and then they won 50-7. And like you could say, oh, they used up all the energy in that game. It's like, okay, but people do this week to week. Like people have played 2 games in 1 week. I mean, yes, St. Pat's Town did it to Scots College. Tawa College getting another good one against HIBS. Man, if there's someone from HIBS that I can get a hold of, I want to talk to them about their players, because I think there's some really good players. I just don't know which ones are the year 13s and year 12s and year 11s. But I know that there's like a mix of them. I'm just not sure on which ones are which. What's his name is the one that I really like is their number 8. I think he's Reese Evans. I think his name is, and I think he's year 12. And I hope he's year 12, because if he comes back next year, he's year 12 and he comes back next year. Man, that guy's a beast, bro. He's so good. And I hope that, Reese Evans. I hope that if he comes back next year and he puts on some of that muscle, with the way he plays, he should be in that frame of Hurricanes number 8. If he's year 12 in the year 13, because I like George White as well. Like I think George White was a really good player. What's his name? Is it Milo? Milo and Douglas Sheriff. Hopefully they're also year 12, because I'm not too sure if they're year 12 or year 13s, or like younger year 13s like Reese's. But if those 3 come back next year, that forward pack should be pretty solid, as well as if Thomas Pritchard is back. And who's the other one that I was looking at? I can't remember the other guy's name. But if they all come back, especially in that forward pack, Milo, Douglas, and Reese, who I actually think will be the loose forward trio, they should be fine. Because I think Tate Judd and Conrad Jones are back next year as well. I've got to find out someone who's who's from there, because because I missed, because when they played against Palmy, George wasn't playing that game. I think he was injured. But I wasn't able to see him, but I saw everyone else, even like Sean Carter, who's got the same name as my favorite rapper. But even him, I think he just needs help. And yes, Thomas Pritchard is there, and James has been there. James was there last year as well, so him and Sean have already got that familiarity with each other and that combination going, but they just need it to be a lot quicker from the forwards, give them a bit more protection and time, and then they can build it up. But that is another good one. That Tawa game and HIBS, I heard, was like a really good game. Tawa winning 38-36. A lot of points though. Heaps of points. But yeah. South Otago over Menzies was one that I was looking at. Tyree College losing to Cromwell College 48-8. Oof. Didn't expect that one. Central Southland College winning 20-5 over Southland Boys second 15 is actually a really, really good score. And so I think that's going to be one of those defining moments for that team, because Southland Boys second 15 is really good. That's like playing Christchurch Boys second 15 or Sacred Heart second 15 or Hamilton Boys second 15. It's like on that kind of level. Mount Aspiring College against Dunstan. I thought Dunstan was going to win that one, but if someone's got that game too, really want to watch that one as well. I'm really keen on that. Wasn't supposed to be this long. It just is, because I talk a lot. Probably because I haven't talked for like the last 4 days. But yeah, I'm going to get through some more games. I'm going to put out the rankings, the new rankings. There's big movements in that top 10. Also got the top, the year 11 top 60 coming out tomorrow. I've got 4 new players going into that. 4 new players that I've found out about who are actually year 11 that I didn't know were year 11. So if you're playing first 15 and have been playing first 15 and you're not on the list, send me your name so that I know that you're the one playing, but and that you're the one that's in there. But I've got 4 new guys going on to that. And yeah. Anyways, love you all. Peace. Later.